I awaken to a voice as the noonday sun floods into my eyes. Rise, my child. I raise my hands to block the sun, and it turns out I'm a robot, so that's cool. I get off the altar on which I find myself, not creepy at all, and look around. I appear to be in some ancient Greek garden that crumbled long ago and has been overgrown by foliage. Arise and look upon the world I have made. The world I have made for you, my child. I scan my surroundings, but don't find the source of that narrating father voice in my head. Wait, if I'm a robot, and I'm his child, then how does that... I created you to enjoy this garden, but not for you to enjoy it alone, but to grow in it as well. Ah, so I'm not literally his child. At least that's comforting. The trials you may face may harm you, but have faith, child. It is all for your own good. Whoa. Can we go back to the trials may face may harm you part? But do not fear, for I, Elohim, shall not abandon you. Wait a sec. I woke up in a garden with a sky voice named Elohim and created... God? Is that you? This is the only command I give you. Do not traverse the tower, for only death awaits you there. Oh yeah, I'm definitely getting Garden of Eden vibes right now. Have faith, child. Now go forth and subdue this world I have created for you. Well, I mean, I was planning on chilling here a little bit longer, but okie dokie. I then proceeded to walk out of my altar summoning home to find a force field gate and a yellow camera looking device. I look at the gate, then at the camera, then at the sky. So, got any directives? I wait, but there's no reply. Well, alright then. I pick up the camera looking device and a floating word appears above it reading jammer. I think for a moment before using the jammer to jam the device emitting the force field gate, causing the gate to open. Well, that was easy, I say as I casually walk through the gate. These trials are going to be a cinch. 2 hours later. Okay, I need to put the box on the button to hold open the force field gate, take the jammer to the other side of the gate, jam the gate, take the box through the gate, put it on the fan, connect the crystal prism to the red laser so the 2 red laser receivers turn on the fan so that the box and the crystal prism are lifted up by the air currents to go over the wall to open the gate, which I then need to put the jammer through the then open gate to the other gate so I can get to the sigil. Easy. Real easy. Upon clearing the next level. Finally! I did it! Well done, child. You've overcome the first of the trials set before you. What? You're saying there are 7 dozen puzzles which took me 2 hours to complete and that was only the first of the trials? I open before you a new world. Only remember, you must not traverse the tower. It is not for you. Right. A mystical god voice says, don't go up the tower. Got it. I walk over to this computer thing that's sitting in the middle of the room. Okay, what is this? I type, hello? And the monitor waits a moment before I receive back, ah, another faithful slave has arrived. I think for a moment before typing back snarkily, well, I prefer the term indentured servant, but I suppose slave will do. The computer takes an extra few seconds to respond. Do you think you're funny? I smirk and type back, yeah. I wait a little while, but the computer doesn't respond. I shrug. Well, I guess some computers can't take a joke. I walk toward the gate to the next set of puzzles. I stop and take a deep breath. Well, here goes nothing. I then walk into the light. 4 hours later. Okay, this time for sure. Place the crystal, put the other crystal on the block, put the block on the thing, and then step on the button to launch the thing over the thing. Next, climb up the ladder, avoid the Gatling gun. Put the block on the Shocky Robot of Death, ride the Shocky Robot of Death till you reach the thing, then do the thing, then with the thing to disable the gate. Use the jammer to use the other gate to connect the laser crystal to the other laser crystal to turn off the fan so you can then get the thing, which allows you to open the other thing, so you can then turn off the thing, so you can then get to the other jammer to disable the other thing, so you can ride the Shocky Robot of Death, back to pick up the earlier thing to connect the blue laser, turn off the laser robot to open the final gate and get the sigil. Upon clearing the next level. Well done, child. You have persevered and proven yourself faithful. As a reward, I will grant you all that you can see. But you must remember, do not climb the tower. It only holds death for you. Yeah, don't climb the tower. Don't worry, I wasn't planning on it. Yet another world opens before you to... Are you serious? As you have faith in me, so I have faith that you shall persevere. Throws head back and lets out a deep sigh. Fine. I guess the puzzles can't get any harder, right? Walks toward the gate and notices yet another computer monitor. Types, hey, are you still there? The computer responds, yes, and after giving it some thought, I'm willing to overlook your irrelevant sarcasm. I chuckle and type back, well, I pray thee, forgive thy slave his arrogance. The cursor blinks back a bit before typing, You're a pain, you know that. I simply type back, yes. The computer continues. Anyway, anything you have anyway you have a brain in that tin skull? Have you ever wondered why Elohim doesn't want you to go up the tower? I think for a moment before responding. So this person must be the equivalent of the serpent in Genesis. Well, you know how this ends. I put my hands to the keyboard and type once again. Nope! Before leaving and walking to the next gate, to the next world. 6 hours later. First do the thing, then the other thing with the third thing, which opens the thing to help me get to the thing, to open the other thing, which then I have to rush over to the thing to put it on the other thing, to close the thing, which opens the thing, which elevates those things, which connects the other things, which connects to the other thing, then the thing, then thing, then thing, to the thing, and oh no, I forgot to do the thing! I proceed to start the puzzle all over again. Upon clearing the last level, stumbles out onto the last level. Please tell me it's over. Well done, my child. You have persevered and have overcome all the trials I set before you. Falls on the floor. Oh, thank goodness it's over. Now one final trial remains. No! You must confront the deceiver and join the ranks of the messengers. I perk up. Wait, all I have to do is talk to the computer guy and then I'm done? I spring to my feet. Yay! I approach the computer screen and type, hey, so I'm supposed to confront you. So, do you feel confronted? Text begins to emerge rapidly on the monitor. Listen, there isn't much time. All I have to tell you is Elohim is... A booming voice in the sky captures my attention. Do not listen to the deceiver! His tongue brings only death. My child, show faith in your maker and banish him for all eternity. A text box pops up reading, /banish to end program. I shrug and begin to type /banish, and the computer monitor responds, Wait, what are you doing? Listen to me! I hit the enter key and the text stops abruptly. I smile. Hey, I know how this story ends. I ain't going to pull an Adam and Eve 2.0. The voice in the sky says warmly, Well done, my child. You have proven yourself faithful and so have merited the esteemed task of helping those who come after you to overcome the same trials you have. Enter through the gate to the paradise of the messenger, and when you have done all that you may wish, you may join me in eternal life. Ooh, paradise sounds cool. I run through the gate into a beautiful floating island. Look, there's waterfalls and trees and butterflies and, ooh, look, a shiny rock. 10 minutes later, I dangle my feet off the edge of the sky island. Well, that got old fast. Well, I suppose on to eternal life I go. And with that, I rush up some golden stairs to the pearly gates and find myself unable to move. A program runs in the corner of my vision as everything begins to fade. Motor functions offline. Hey, why can't I move? Updating version and software. Updating? Wiping memory. Wait, what? Oh no. Terminating program. And then all went dark. So yeah, let this serve as a lesson to you kids. If you ever play a video game in which a magical sky voice claims to be God and tells you to do something, don't listen to him. There's a 100% chance your robot body will be frozen and rebooted. You know, just in case you ever find yourself in that situation. So yeah, anyway, if you didn't catch it, this was indeed the first video game I have played in quite some time. It's called Talos Principle. And I think it's like the first solo game I played in like 2 years. IDK, I guess, you know, I might have done something else, but it's the first time I've committed to playing like a full-fledged legit video game. It was really Braden's fault. He kept bugging me about, you know, owning a gaming computer and never playing games on it. So, you know, plus this game was really good and philosophy. So eventually I gave in. It was actually pretty great. The puzzles were actually pretty darn challenging, especially as the game progressed. But I seriously was disappointed that doing the right thing ends up getting you murdered. Like seriously, what kind of ethics are you trying to teach in this stupid game? Oh well, let's get on to life. After I finished my last life of the email, I spent the rest of the day reading the Bible and watching anime, so that was good. The next morning was Christmas Eve, so I spent a good portion of that day reading peer-reviewed papers about hell and taking notes. If reading papers about hell isn't a holiday activity, then I don't know what is. I then played some VR and delivered some toffee under cover of night to the Myers, but Benj caught me. Darn it. I then went out with Grace and we rollerbladed across the neighborhoods looking at the lights. Here's a picture of the Old Town lights because we didn't have any pictures of that night. Come Christmas, my family did a bunch of Christmas stuff, open presents and all that, but most of the day was free, so I may have spent like 8 hours playing the Talos Principle. However, the next morning I did manage to get 4 pages done on my paper concerning hell, so my character wasn't completely jettisoned, though I did play another 4 hours to finish the Talos Principle. But hey, that game was rewarding, so he's got to count for something. The following day I helped Dad haul some wood, though we did have a disagreement during that time, and we later worked it out, where I also acted as a moderator between Mom and Dad, so that was interesting. Other than that, we all hung out with the Basses that day, and we played 2 games of Catan, one of which I won and one of which I lost. The day after, I worked a lot on my hell paper. I'm now convinced of a position on hell called annihilationism, so if anyone's interested in talking to me about it, they should let me know. The rest of the day, I played Oh no, I caught up with Mark, wherein we talked about a wide range of topics, which was quite good. And then I also watched some anime with Mom. More work on the paper filled my time for the next 24-hour period. I also got a tiny bit of Bible reading in before going over the Wades and hanging out, which is meh, but not too bad. I think the next morning was Sunday morning, and I recall powering the last of my paper out before working for like a solid, 4 hours, and just barely finishing before my cousins from California arrived. After everyone re-arrived, because they were here before, and they were just like stopping and hang out before their return trip, we then went thrift store shopping and looking for some rope, which we didn't find, and we didn't end up needing, which was also a complete waste of time. And then we went back home and played Starvio until like 2 in the morning, except Toby played with my VR headset. The following day, Joe made some uneducated claims over text, and we debated that until I got to call Jordan, and we caught up, which was good. I then drove to Duncan's house for his New Year's party, which wasn't very party-esque, and I kind of just ruined it by bringing up contentious theological issues. He's Orthodox, you see. Upon that party perishing, I drove Duncan to Molly's New Year's party, which I played a lot of ping pong at, and I dominated, before rounding out the night with some good conversations. The next morning, we all played some more Starvio before Dad and my uncle decided to spontaneously drive to Estes with the cousin squad, and we joined in. And we ended up splitting this massive sandwich and a bunch of cheddar sun chips. Objectively the best chips on the face of the earth. Before driving up to the National Forest, we did a bit of riding in the back of Ben's car. On the way back, Ben tried to have a heart-to-heart with the cousins, which was sort of received. I don't know, it was interesting. So yeah, after that, we got home and drove straight to Morgan's house, where we met up with them females, all to watch the rest of Bofuri together, an anime that I got everyone hooked on. Finally, upon arriving home, we all played Starvio again late into the night. The next morning, the cousins left, and I spent some time cleaning up the house and my room particularly. I then got some Bible reading in, bought some jeans, and spent the rest of my day with me and Ben playing Starvio together. We used to really like that game back in the day, so I guess we both got temporarily addicted to it again. However, we did basically beat the game this time, so that was cool. The following morning, I spent responding to City's criticism of my fine-tuning argument for God's existence, most of which were grammatical, which was 100% deserved, but the remainder of which, the content she mostly didn't understand, which could be my fault, but I'm more inclined to think she didn't want to put in the brain power to understand it, because, these sort of issues do require quite a bit of brain power. Then I made a time to whiteboard fight, where I basically made a chart of the perpetually scheduled events. Oh, no, then I made a time whiteboard where I basically made a chart of my perpetually scheduled events I have going every day. And after that, I watched some more anime with Mom before heading over to Caleb's, where we took turns playing on the Oculus until it died. And then we talked and watched some stuff, which I must agree was the worst movie ever. It was just a bad movie we watched. To commemorate its horribleness, I have summarized the plot for you here. The worst film ever made. A summary. The film, like all great dystopian films, begins by informing the viewer that a crisis of global warming has occurred, and thus the world is so frozen it's uninhabitable. Trust me, it makes sense if you really don't think about it. We were then introduced to 3 protagonists of the film. Captain America. I don't know what his real name is, but he was the actor from Captain America, so we're going to roll with that. One-Armed Gandhi. And Robin, but more edgy. Everyone is stuck on a train that is a perpetual motion machine circling the Earth, and it carries the last remnants of humanity on it. After a bit of introduction, the train SWAT team takes some little children and throws a shoe at the dictator person. And a dude throws a shoe at the dictator person. Shoe-throwing dude's punishment is to be forced to stick his arm outside the train for 7 minutes. When it's pulled back in, big surprise, it's frozen, and then it's smashed with a hammer. Then, Captain America, Edgy Robin, and One-Armed Gandhi plan to lead a revolt because they're in terrible living conditions. Captain America thinks the train SWAT team people don't have any bullets in their guns, so he tests this theory by giving a train SWAT team guy to put his gun to his head and pull the trigger. He doesn't die. So then he leads a revolt and takes control of some cars. He then unlocks a box in which he finds the drug addict hacker. And the drug addict hacker omniscient lady then bribes with, which he then bribes with drugs, big surprise, to help him open the doors to the next train cars. They then open the next door to find a train car full of axe murderers in ski masks, who then proceed to fight them in a gruesome manner for at least 15 minutes. Captain America then, faced with saving Edgy Robin or capturing domineering autistic speech lady, decides to capture the lady and let Edgy Robin die. He then almost kills dominating autistic speech lady because he's mad. They then stop for a sushi break. Seriously, no joke. They're like going to take over the engine of the train, but they just like stop and break for sushi. And they walk into a colorful classroom wherein all the kids and a pregnant teacher give a brief history lesson of the train. Afterward, a dude walks by with a wheelbarrow full of eggs, and the pregnant teacher pulls out an Uzi out of the eggs and shoots a bunch of insignificant characters before a knife is thrown into her throat. Captain America then takes the pregnant teacher's Uzi and shoots the domineering autistic speech lady, who he then chooses to capture rather than save. She chose to capture instead of saving his best friend for no clear reason. The drug addict hacker then continues to open up train cars until the super tough bad guy reveals himself and broadcasts himself shooting One-Armed Gandhi. He then proceeds to shoot all of Captain America, to shoot at Captain America through the glass in the train and one of the last cars. Captain America then shoots back, and his Uzi is just as accurate as the guy's AK, but they both give up shooting at each other because the teacher they both give up shooting a teacher through the glass because some reason, again, not quite clear. Captain America and Co. then walk through a party car, a sketchy car, and then a super tough bad guy fights them in the sauna car, where he almost kills everyone, but doesn't. Captain America then finally makes it to the final car, with only drug addict hacker guy and the drug addict omniscient lady left, where he then decides to have an emotional moment and confesses he murdered Edgy Robin's mom and is a cannibal. Further, he relates that it's only because one-armed Gandhi cut off his own arm for him to eat that he turned from his ways. Drug addict hacker dude then reveals that his drug of choice also doubles as a bomb, and he's thinking it's not too cold to live outside the train. He then affixates the drug bomb to the outside the train door, but Captain America stops him from blowing it up. It is at this point that the door to the engine room opens, and a lady walks out, shoots drug addict hacker, while the drug addict omniscient lady sleeps through it, and escorts Captain America into the engine room where he meets a balanced monologue man. Balanced monologue man then informs Captain America that he and one-armed Gandhi planned Captain America's whole uprising from the beginning just to curb the population growth inside the train. Oh, also, he wants Captain America to take over for him as the cruel dictator, as he is now old. Captain America seems like he might say yes until the drug addict omniscient lady wakes up, runs in, and starts scratching at the floor. Thus, when Captain America opens the floor, he finds that the train is actually powered by children, and so he proceeds to beat up the balanced monologue man and pull the child from the floor, getting his arm cut off in the process. Drug addict hacker then wakes up, apparently not dead, and fights a super bad tough guy, who is apparently also not dead, and wins, and then sets up his explosive drugs. The explosion then kills Captain America and drug addict hacker dude, and causes an avalanche, which causes everyone in the train to die, except for drug addict omniscient lady and the child that Captain America pulled out of the engine. These two characters then step off the train wreckage and into the snow and see a polar bear. The end. So yeah, after that completely logical and reasonable film, I had to go to school early in the morning. I then did homework, changed my phone service to T-Mobile, spent a good deal of time working on my history of philosophy memorization, and then finally joined in on movie night with the fam. The next day was more school. I took a few hours to change my oil, and then I proceeded to read half a book that Alan gave me and told me to read, and it was meh. Before I watched a movie called Predestination with the fam, which was seriously so good. Very mind-bending, albeit a little bit disturbing at times. The next school day, I did school and then finished that book that Alan told me to read. Overall, it was quite encouraging because after the philosophy book I read over the summer that literally took me a month to read, I, for some reason, thought that reading any book I undertook would be like super time-consuming and exhausting endeavor. However, after reading this like whole 250-page book in like 2 days, I realized it's not that all books are hard to read, it's just that philosophy tomes are really challenging. After reading that book, I then started a different book on neuroscience, providing evidence for the Jungian cognitive functions, but I didn't take it too far before Jake, Noah, and Joe showed up to debate hell. Jake left early, but overall, I would say the conversation was very good. Both Noah and Joe made some good points that I didn't anticipate, and they did put a sizable dent in my argument for our annihilationism. But, you know, I still think annihilationism has the better of the objective argument, but nevertheless, the two of them did do quite well in the debate. Also, me and Joe ended up talking until 2 in the morning, so that was quite good. Next morning, I found it to be snowing, but that did not stand in the way of me, Ben, and Noah, and the gang all playing airsoft. So yeah, we all went out and played airsoft in the snow for like 4 hours and 30 minutes, and it was pretty fun. Honestly, I was pretty tired by the end, and I'm pretty sure that there were some times when I shot people and they did not call it because they couldn't feel it with all the layers on. But overall, it was good. Also, my helmet worked quite well. The only thing that wasn't the best is the metal rubbing on my neck, which turned, whenever I turned my head, that began to hurt. But yeah, we all made it out of there safely, and it was a good time. I then got a small amount of time where I got to chill before Noah and Melissa came over and talked with the fam until like 10:30 p.m. However, at one point, this conversation turned to what I would like in a romantic partner, and that was the worst. I managed to mostly get out of the question, but seriously, I think I can objectively say that's the worst sort of question I've ever been asked. Apparently, they thought it was only fair, after they attempted, to answer my genuinely interesting questions of like, what's a person and what's correct moral theory, that I would have to answer a question from them. So, yeah, not fair. My question was an objective and logical one. Theirs was a feely one of death. So, yeah, just to make this crystal clear, all of you are never to ask me that question. It's a stupid question and completely unedifying. After that, I went to bed, but I got distracted by websites that promised to let me stalk people for free, but always end up trying to charge me after I did all the work. That was quite frustrating. The following day, I read another paper on hell before playing D&D and eating some amazing potatoes at City's house. Seriously, they're called twice baked potatoes, and they're like the most magical substance on earth. After that, I did Bible study, and Mia did dishes before walking around CSU in the cold and having a conversation. And then we came back and played a mad trivia game and a bunch of Smash, which was good. The next day, I spent a good chunk reading scholarly articles revealing teleology that I've come to love, and particularly this Catholic Church's application as regards to sexual ethics. So that was, I suppose, good, but still unfortunate as the papers were quite persuasive. I then hosted Animen, our first meeting in ages since Joe's house has been out of commission, and Morgan joined in. However, we were working our way through Sword Art Online, and it turns out the end episodes are quite romantic, so that was sucky. But after a bit of meta conversation, we all hopped in Caleb's car and drove the typical route and got some good conversations going. When we got back, Morton headed out, but me, Caleb, and Joe stayed up taking turns playing VR and playing a simple online game. But overall, it was a really good time. The following morning, I slept until 1, because I could, before doing homework, and then meeting with the rest of Christy Noah to discuss stuff for teaching and opportunity. And I'm hopefully going to get to teach the history of philosophy. I mean, I've been working on memorizing it for like over a year now, so I'm getting to be quite the expert. So that went well. When I got home, I started working on a presentation and sent it to Noah to see if it was looking good before I read some more papers and then watched some anime with Mom and Grace. Oh, I also watched a legendary episode in Avatar with the Secret Tunnel song. The following morning, school occurred. I picked up Grace from school. I got some more reading done and started conversing with Material Kid through Discord. I then went to youth group and I played a lot of Spike Ball. I really do love that game. Thursday, I got done with school super fast, which allowed me to read for basically the whole day. So I ended up finishing the book and taking some pretty extensive notes, which should come in handy sometime. And finally, yesterday, I was able to sleep in after technically checking in for school. Our school has a stupid rule. You have to pass like an attendance task during the period. So even if there's no lecture, you still have to like be in math class at 7:50 in the morning. Having to wake up for attendance is dumb. Nobody goes dumb. But after I got that done, I watched some anime with the fam and played soccer with the usual group, and then went over to the Wade's house at 6:30 to play a game of Catan, which I won. Here's a picture. I then watched Tenet, which was pretty good. And then finally, this day consists of me watching the end of the anime with Mom and Grace and writing this life email. So there you have it. Yep, that's all I have to say. So I'll talk to you all later.